When you think about coins that could potentially make you a lot of money, the Lincoln penny might not be the first coin that comes to mind. Rarest coins. But what if I told you that the 1982 Lincoln penny is one of those rare exceptions where a small, everyday coin could be worth an astonishing amount of money? That's right, a 1982 Lincoln penny could be worth up to $1.2 million under the right circumstances. In today's video, we're going to explore the fascinating history of the 1982 Lincoln penny, the potential reasons it could be worth so much, and how you can tell if you have one of these valuable coins on your hands. Let's dive right in. Before we get into the specifics of the 1982 Lincoln penny, let's take a brief look at the history of the Lincoln penny itself. The Lincoln cent, often referred to simply as the Lincoln penny, was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse of the coin features a bust of President Lincoln, and it's one of the most iconic designs in American coinage history. On the reverse side, we've seen many different designs over the years, but the one that's most commonly associated with the penny is the shield, which symbolizes Lincoln's preservation of the Union during the Civil War. Since its introduction, the Lincoln penny has undergone several design changes, but it has remained a staple in everyday American life. However, one particular year, 1982, marked a pivotal moment in the coin's history, especially in terms of its value and its composition. In 1982, the U.S. Mint made a significant change in the composition of the Lincoln penny. For much of its history, the penny was made primarily of copper. However, due to rising copper prices, the Mint decided to change the material used for pennies in 1982, replacing the majority of copper with zinc. This change resulted in two different types of 1982 Lincoln pennies, one that was made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, and another that was made of 97.5% zinc with a thin copper plating. This shift in composition meant that there were two distinct types of 1982 pennies, and collectors have since come to highly value certain variations. The pennies that were struck with the copper composition before the change are particularly sought after, and there's a strong market for the 1982 copper pennies in excellent condition or with certain minting errors. But the real intrigue comes when we start discussing rare errors found among these 1982 pennies. So, what makes the 1982 Lincoln penny so valuable? The key to the value lies in the errors that occurred during the minting process. Like all coins, pennies sometimes get struck with errors, so whether it's an issue with the die, misalignments during the striking process, or other abnormalities, these errors make certain coins much rarer than others, and collectors are willing to pay top dollar for these unusual specimens. Let's take a look at the main types of errors that have been found on 1982 Lincoln pennies. 1. The 1982 copper penny, unplated. One of the most highly sought-after errors is the 1982 penny that was supposed to be zinc-plated but somehow retained its copper composition. A few of these copper pennies have slipped through the cracks, and because they are supposed to be zinc-based, they are considered extremely rare. If you find a 1982 penny that weighs 3.11 grams, the weight of the copper version, it could be worth a small fortune. 2. The 1982 DDO, double die obverse. A double die error happens when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned during the process. This results in the design being doubled or offset, which can be clearly visible on the coin. The 1982 Lincoln penny is known to have a few examples of the double die obverse, where you can see doubled letters in the word liberty and in the date 1982. Coins with this error are highly collectible and can command a high price. 3. The 1982 off-center strike. Another error that can increase the value of a 1982 penny is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not properly aligned in the minting machine, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted. Off-center pennies are considered to be mistakes, and since they are so unusual, they tend to be valuable to collectors who enjoy acquiring rare and unique coins. 4. The 1982 no mint mark penny. In 1982, pennies were produced at multiple mint facilities, including the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. Most 1982 pennies have a mint mark, either D for Denver or no mint mark for Philadelphia, but some rare pennies have been found without any mint mark at all. These rare no mint mark 1982 pennies can be worth significant. Do you happen to have any 1968D Lincoln pennies in your coin collection or spare change? If so, you might want to take a closer look because one of those pennies could be worth an eye-popping $1.5 million. It may sound too good to be true, but some 1968D pennies have been discovered to hold incredible value due to rare errors and variations. In this video, we'll uncover the history behind the 1968D Lincoln penny, explore its value, and reveal the secrets that make this coin worth so much money. Stick around to find out if you've got a hidden gem sitting in your collection. Before we dive into the specifics of the 1968D Lincoln penny, let's take a step back and look at the history of the Lincoln penny in general. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this coin has featured Lincoln's portrait on the obverse, front, side ever since. Over the years, the reverse design of the coin has gone through a few changes, with the most notable being the shift from the wheat stock design to the Lincoln Memorial in 1959. The 1968D penny was minted during a time when the U.S. Mint was producing billions of pennies to meet the growing demand for low-value coins in circulation. It was struck at the Denver Mint, and you can find the D mint mark on the reverse side of the coin. At first glance, a 1968D Lincoln penny may seem like just another ordinary penny, but a closer look reveals that certain versions of this coin are highly prized by collectors due to rare errors and unique characteristics. The 1968D Lincoln penny features the familiar design of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, symbolizing President Lincoln's dedication to the nation and his legacy. The obverse side of the coin shows Lincoln's portrait, which was designed by Brenner in 1909 and has remained unchanged. In terms of composition, the 1968D penny is made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, which was the standard composition for pennies minted at that time. The coin weighs 3.11 grams and has a diameter of 19 millimeters, which is consistent with the size and weight of other pennies from the same period. While the design and composition of the 1968D penny are typical for its time, the coin gained attention over the years due to some unique characteristics and error varieties that have made it worth much more than its face value. So what makes the 1968D Lincoln penny worth so much? The truth is that not all 1968D pennies are valuable, but certain rare errors and variations can make some of these coins worth thousands, tens of thousands, or even millions of dollars. Here are some of the key factors that can elevate the value of a 1968D penny. 1. The 1968D double die obverse, DDO, error. One of the most sought-after errors in the world of coin collecting is the double die error, and the 1968D penny is no exception. A double die occurs when the coin's die is misaligned or struck multiple times, resulting in a doubling effect on certain parts of the design. For the 1968D penny, this doubling is most commonly seen in the lettering, especially in the word Liberty and the motto In God We Trust. A well-defined double-die 1968D penny is extremely rare, and these errors are considered highly valuable to collectors. 2. The 1968D off-center strike. Another rare error that can make a 1968D Lincoln penny worth a significant amount is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not properly aligned in the minting press, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted. Off-center strike errors are much rarer than typical coins, and when they occur, the coin can be worth much more than a standard penny, depending on the severity of the off-center strike. These pennies can be worth thousands of dollars or more. 3. The 1968D RPM, repunched mint mark, error. Some 1968D pennies were struck with a repunched mint mark, which means the D mint mark was punched onto the die multiple times. This results in a mint mark that appears more than once on the coin, with the second impression slightly shifted. Repunched mint mark, RPM, errors are highly collectible, and if you happen to find a 1968D penny with a visible RPM, it can be worth a substantial amount to the right buyer. 4. The 1968D rotated reverse error. Occasionally, the reverse side of a coin is rotated when it's struck, causing the design to be misaligned. For the 1968D Lincoln penny, this error results in a rotated reverse, where the Lincoln Memorial appears tilted. Rotated reverse errors are uncommon, and collectors seek out these types of coins for their unique characteristics. If you have a 1968D penny with the rotate, have you ever thought about checking your spare change for a rare coin? You might want to take a second look at your 1971 Lincoln pennies, because some of them could be worth an incredible amount of money, up to $1.3 million. It's hard to believe, right? Well, in today's video, we're going to explore the fascinating history behind the 1971 Lincoln penny, why it's so valuable, and how a rare version of this coin sold for a staggering $1.3 million. Stick around, because you may just have a hidden treasure in your pocket. Before we dive into the value of the 1971 Lincoln penny, it's important to understand the significance of the Lincoln cent in general. The Lincoln penny, first introduced in 1909, was created to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by artist Victor David Brenner, the coin has featured a portrait of Lincoln on the obverse side, the front. Ever since, over the years, the reverse, back, side of the coin has undergone several changes, but the portrait of Lincoln has remained largely unchanged. The Lincoln penny is not just a piece of currency, it's a symbol of American history, and for more than a century, it has been circulating in American wallets, piggy banks, and even collectors' drawers. The 1971 Lincoln penny, like many other pennies of its time, has some interesting aspects that have made it the focus of collectors, and in some cases, it can be worth far more than its face value. In 1971, the Lincoln penny continued to be produced with a copper composition, which was standard for pennies at the time. The penny weighs 3.11 grams and is made from 95% copper and 5% zinc. The obverse side features Abraham Lincoln's portrait, facing right, while the reverse side depicts the familiar image of two wheat stalks flanking a simple inscription that reads E pluribus unum and 1 cent. The 1971 penny is often considered a classic representation of the Lincoln design, and it remains one of the more popular coins among collectors. In 1971, the United States Mint struck billions of pennies, and these coins entered circulation without any major changes to their design. But what makes the 1971 penny stand out from other years is the fact that some of these coins carry rare errors that can drive up their value significantly. The key to understanding how a 1971 Lincoln penny could be worth so much money lies in the rare errors and variations that occurred during the minting process. Just like any other coin, pennies are sometimes struck with flaws, either due to misalignments, incorrect dies, or other technical issues. These errors are what makes some coins especially valuable to collectors. Here are the most notable errors and variations found in the 1971 Lincoln penny that can drive up its value. 1. The 1971 double die error. One of the most sought-after error coins from 1971 is the double die obverse, or DDO. This error occurs when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned or damaged, resulting in a doubled image. For the 1971 penny, this often appears as a doubling in the lettering of Liberty and In God We Trust, as well as the date 1971. These coins are highly prized by collectors because the doubling is so visible, and they can be worth much more than a standard penny. 2. The 1971 off-center strike. Another rare error that can increase the value of a 1971 Lincoln penny is the off-center strike. This happens when the penny is not properly aligned in the press, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted. A severely off-center penny can be worth a small fortune, as these types of coins are unique and rare. Collectors love these coins for their distinctiveness, and the more misaligned the design, the more valuable the coin. 3. The 1971 no-mint mark penny. The 1971 penny was produced at multiple mints, including the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. Most 1971 pennies have a mint marker, either D for Denver or no mint mark for Philadelphia. However, in rare cases, a 1971 penny from the Philadelphia Mint was struck with no mint mark, despite being produced there. These no mint mark coins are unusual and are considered to be collectible by those in the numismatic community. 4. The 1971 S-proof penny. The 1971 penny was also struck as a proof coin at the San Francisco Mint. Proof coins are specially made for collectors and are struck with higher precision and polish, making them much sharper and shinier than regular circulation coins. While proof pennies from 1971 aren't necessarily extremely rare, they can still fetch a higher price if they are in excellent condition, particularly if they have been well preserved. Now, let's talk about the $1.30 bill. Have you ever looked at your coins and wondered if you might be holding onto a hidden treasure? If you've ever come across a 1960D Lincoln penny, then you might just be in luck. Rarest coins because certain versions of this penny could be worth an astonishing $1.7 million. It sounds unbelievable, but it's true. In today's video, we're going to uncover the fascinating history of the 1960D Lincoln penny, explore why it could be worth such a huge sum of money, and look at the rare factors that make this penny so valuable. Stay tuned to discover everything you need to know about this unique coin. Before we dive into the specifics of the 1960D Lincoln penny, let's take a moment to discuss the history of the Lincoln penny as a whole. The Lincoln cent, commonly referred to as the Lincoln penny, was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. The coin was designed by artist Victor David Brenner, and since its release, it has been an iconic piece of U.S. currency. The front of the coin, or the obverse, features the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, while the reverse has gone through several design changes over the years. The original reverse featured 2 stalks of wheat, which is why those early pennies are often called wheat pennies. But by 1959, the design was changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial, and this became the reverse design for pennies produced from 1959 until 2008. This shift was part of a broader effort to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The 1960D penny, however, is particularly notable because of its role in coin history. It was struck during a time of transition in U.S. coinage, and it has been the subject of much attention from collectors ever since. While most 1960D pennies are not worth a significant amount, certain rare versions have fetched impressive prices on the market. The 1960D Lincoln penny, like other pennies of its era, was composed primarily of copper. It has a composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc, and it weighs 3.11 grams. The 1960D penny features the same iconic design with Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. The D on the coin's reverse stands for the Denver Mint, where the coin was struck. Coins from the Denver Mint carry the D Mint mark, distinguishing them from coins struck at other mints, such as the Philadelphia Mint. In 1960, the U.S. Mint produced billions of pennies to meet the demand for low-value coins in circulation. While most 1960D pennies are relatively common, some have been discovered to have rare characteristics, making them highly desirable to collectors. So, what makes the 1960D Lincoln penny so special? The truth is, the value of most 1960D pennies is fairly low. However, certain rare varieties of this coin can be worth tens of thousands or even millions of dollars. Here's where the real excitement begins. 1. The 1960D small date penny. In 1960, the U.S. Mint produced 2 different types of pennies, the 1960 large date and the 1960 small date. The difference is in the size and positioning of the numbers in the date on the coin. The small date version features smaller, more closely spaced digits, while the large date version has larger, more widely spaced numbers. Most of the 1960D pennies you'll find are the large date variety, but the small date version is much rarer and highly sought after by collectors. This small date variety is the one that can be worth significant money. 2. The 1960D double die obverse, DDO, penny. Another error that makes the 1960D penny valuable is the double die error. A double die occurs when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned or is struck more than once, creating a doubling effect on certain parts of the coin's design. For the 1960D penny, this error typically shows up in the lettering, particularly in the word Liberty and the motto In God We Trust. A well-defined double die 1960D penny can be worth thousands of dollars, depending on its condition. 3. The 1960D Lincoln penny with the RPM, repunched mint mark. The 1960D penny also has a variety with a repunched mint mark, known as an RPM. An RPM occurs when the mint mark, in this case, the D for Denver, was punched onto the die multiple times, causing the mint mark to appear twice, slightly shifted. RPM errors are considered rare and can add significant value to the coin, especially if the error is visible and well-defined. 4. The 1960D rotated reverse error. Another rare error that some 1960D pennies have is a rotated reverse. This happens when the reverse of the coin, the Lincoln Memorial side, is not aligned properly with the obverse. In a normal penny, the reverse and. Have you ever come across a 1978D Lincoln penny and wondered if it could be worth more than just 1 cent? Well, you're not alone. Many coin collectors and enthusiasts have discovered that certain 1978D Lincoln pennies are worth far more than their face value, in some cases, up to $1.4 million. It sounds unbelievable, but it's true. In today's video, we're diving into the fascinating history of the 1978D Lincoln penny, its significance, the rare errors that can make this coin valuable, and how a few lucky collectors have turned these pennies into million-dollar treasures. Stay tuned, and let's explore what makes the 1978D Lincoln penny so extraordinary. Before we dig into the details of the 1978D Lincoln penny, it's important to understand the history of the Lincoln penny in general. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909, designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner to commemorate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a portrait of a real person, and Lincoln's image has remained on the obverse of the coin ever since. Originally, the reverse of the Lincoln penny featured 2 ears of wheat, earning it the nickname Wheat Penny. However, in 1959, the reverse design was changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This new design has been in use on Lincoln pennies ever since. The 1978D penny was minted as the Denver Mint, as indicated by the D mint mark on the reverse side of the coin. During the late 1970s, the U.S. Mint produced billions of pennies to satisfy the growing demand for small denominations in circulation. While the 1978D penny may seem like just another standard coin from the era, certain versions of it are much more valuable due to rare minting errors, and that's where the excitement lies for collectors. Like most pennies minted in the 1970s, the 1978D Lincoln penny has a design that features Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. The coin is composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc, with a weight of 3.11 grams and a diameter of 19 millimeters. The 1978D penny is similar in size and composition to other Lincoln pennies produced during this period. While the design and composition of the 1978D penny are typical for the time, it is important to recognize that what makes this particular coin so intriguing lies in the potential errors and rare varieties that can elevate its value. A standard 1978D penny is worth just 1 cent, but certain rare 1978D pennies can command a price well beyond their face value. The main reason why some 1978D Lincoln pennies are worth so much money is because of certain minting errors or unique characteristics that make them rare. Here are a few of the key reasons why the 1978D penny can be worth thousands, tens of thousands, or even millions of dollars. 1. The 1978D double die obverse, DDO, error. One of the most valuable error types for the 1978D penny is the double die error. This occurs when the coin's die is misaligned or struck multiple times, resulting in a doubling effect on the design elements. For the 1978D penny, this error often appears in the lettering, particularly the word liberty and the motto "In God We Trust." The doubling effect can be subtle or more pronounced, and a clear and well-defined double die error can significantly increase the coin's value. A well-preserved example of the 1978D DDO penny could easily be worth thousands of dollars, and some high-grade examples have been sold for much more. 2. The 1978D off-center strike error. Another error that makes the 1978D penny valuable is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not properly aligned in the minting press, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted. If you find a 1978D penny that has a noticeable off-center strike, it could be worth much more than a regular coin. These errors are rare and highly collectible, and depending on how far off-center the strike is, these pennies can command impressive prices in the market. 3. The 1978D repunched mint mark, RPM, error. Another type of error that can make a 1978D Lincoln penny valuable is the repunched mint mark, or RPM. This occurs when the mint mark A, in this case, the D for Denver A, is struck onto the die multiple times, creating a second, slightly shifted mint mark impression. If you notice any doubling or shifting in the D mint mark, you may have an RPM error. RPM pennies are highly sought after by collectors, and a well-defined example can add considerable value to your coin. 4. The 1978D rotated reverse error. A less common but still valuable error on the 1978D penny is the R. Have you ever looked at a coin and wondered if it could be worth more than just its face value? Well, if you have a 2014 Lincoln penny, you might just be sitting on a small fortune. In this video, we're going to take a deep dive into the history of the Lincoln penny, particularly the 2014 edition, and uncover how this humble coin could potentially be worth a jaw-dropping $1.1 million. Let's explore. To understand why 2014 Lincoln penny could be worth so much, we first need to take a look back at the history of this iconic coin. The Lincoln penny, officially known as the Lincoln cent, was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. The coin was designed by the artist Victor David Brenner, who was chosen for his ability to capture the essence of the late president. What makes the Lincoln penny so significant is not just its connection to American history, but its role in the day-to-day lives of citizens. For over a century, this little coin has been circulating throughout the United States, and its design has undergone several changes, each reflecting the political and social climate of its time. In 2010, the U.S. Mint made a special change to the reverse of the Lincoln penny to celebrate the bicentennial of Lincoln's birth. This redesign featured a shield, symbolizing Lincoln's preservation of the Union, and this design continued in 2014. The 2014 Lincoln penny is part of the ongoing series of coins that commemorate Lincoln's life and legacy. The 2014 design features a shield on the reverse side, a representation of Lincoln's preservation of the Union. The obverse side of the coin remains unchanged, displaying a bust of President Lincoln, facing right. This coin is struck in this familiar copper-plated zinc composition, making it instantly recognizable to anyone who has ever held a penny. But, while most 2014 Lincoln pennies are worth just 1 cent, Some of these coins have something special about them that could make them much more valuable. What makes these coins stand out? Let's get into the details. Now, here's where things get really interesting. The 2014 Lincoln penny is generally not worth much more than its face value unless, of course, you have a rare coin on your hands. It's important to note that the value of any coin, especially a penny, is often determined by its rarity, condition, and any errors that might have occurred during the minting process. One of the main reasons a 2014 penny could be worth a lot of money is if it contains a minting error. Minting errors can occur for several reasons, such as misprints, double striking, or incorrect dies being used during the production process. The rarer the error, the higher the potential value of the coin. For example, one of the most valuable Lincoln pennies in recent years was a 2014 penny with the double die error. A double die error occurs when a coin is struck with a die that is misaligned, resulting in a noticeable doubling of the design on the coin. In the case of the 2014 Lincoln penny, this error was relatively rare, making it highly sought after by collectors. Another error that could significantly increase the value of a 2014 penny is the off-center strike. This happens when a coin is not properly aligned during the minting process, causing the design to be stamped off-center. Coins with this kind of mistake are often more valuable because they are unique, and collectors love the oddity. So, how does a 2014 Lincoln penny potentially become worth $1.1 million? The answer lies in one of these very rare errors. In 2015, a coin collector discovered a 2014 Lincoln penny with a remarkable error, one that led to it being sold for a record-breaking price. The error was a double die that was especially clear, making it stand out among other similar coins. This particular penny had such an impact on the numismatic community that it fetched an astonishing $1.1 million at auction. The penny's buyer wasn't just looking for a simple coin, they were purchasing a piece of history. It's rare to find a coin with such a clear and well-defined error, and even rarer for it to come from a year like 2014. This serves as a reminder of how much value can be found in something that most people would overlook. But remember, not every 2014 Lincoln penny will fetch that kind of money. It's about finding those rare, one-of-a-kind errors that collectors are after. Now that you know how a 2014 penny could potentially be worth a fortune, how do you identify one that might have value beyond its face value? First, you'll want to inspect your penny closely for any noticeable errors. Here are 8. Hey there, coin enthusiasts, did you know that some Lincoln pennies, especially those minted in 1966, are worth a whole lot more than just 1 cent? Rarest coins, that's right. While most of these coins may seem like your average penny, certain 1966 Lincoln pennies have been sold for jaw-dropping amounts, with one coin reaching a mind-blowing $1.6 million. It might sound unbelievable, but it's true. In today's video, we're going to dive into the history of the 1966 Lincoln penny, what makes it so special, and why some of these coins are worth such astronomical amounts. Stick around because you might just find out that you have a rare treasure hiding in your collection. Before we get into the details about the 1966 Lincoln penny, let's first take a quick look at the history of the Lincoln penny. The Lincoln cent was introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner, it was the first U.S. coin to feature the portrait of a real person, Abraham Lincoln himself. For decades, the Lincoln penny has been one of the most iconic and recognizable coins in American currency. The design on the reverse of the coin has changed over time, with the most notable change occurring in 1959, when the design shifted from 2 stalks of wheat, known as the wheat cent, to the Lincoln Memorial to celebrate Lincoln's legacy. This new design remained on the penny until 2009, when the U.S. Mint released special reverse designs to commemorate the 200th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. But today, we're focusing on a specific year, 1966. While this coin may not have seemed special at first, certain rare varieties and errors have made it a valuable find for coin collectors and investors. The 1966 Lincoln penny follows the same design used on most pennies from the 1959s onward. On the obverse, front of the coin, you'll find the familiar image of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Brenner. The reverse, back, features the Lincoln Memorial, a symbolic tribute to the 16th president, designed by Frank Gasparo. In terms of composition, the 1966 Lincoln penny is made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, which was the standard formula for pennies minted at that time. The penny weighs 3.11 grams and has a diameter of 19 millimeters. While the design and composition of the 1966 Lincoln penny might not be extraordinary in themselves, it is the rare minting errors and unique features that make some of these coins incredibly valuable. So, what makes the 1966 Lincoln penny so valuable? Most of the time, a 1966 Lincoln penny is worth just 1 cent. However, certain errors and variations of the coin can increase its value dramatically. Here are some of the key features that can make a 1966 penny worth thousands, tens of thousands, or even millions of dollars. 1. The 1966 double die obverse, DDO, error. One of the most valuable errors that can occur on a 1966 Lincoln penny is the double die error. This happens when the coin's die is struck multiple times, causing parts of the design to appear doubled. On the 1966 Lincoln penny, the doubling is most often visible on the lettering, particularly the word Liberty and the motto "In God We Trust." Coins with a clear, noticeable double die error can be worth a lot of money, and some rare examples have been sold for tens of thousands of dollars. 2. The 1966 off-center strike error. Another error that can significantly increase the value of a 1966 Lincoln penny is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin is improperly aligned in the minting press, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted. If you find a 1966 penny with the noticeable off-center strike, it could be worth a substantial amount more than a standard penny. The rarity of these off-center strike errors makes them highly collectible. 3. The 1966 repunched mint mark, RPM, error. Sometimes, the mint mark, the D for the Denver Mint, can be punched onto the coin's die multiple times, creating a repunched mint mark. If you examine the reverse side of the coin closely and see that the mint mark is doubled or shifted, you may have found a 1966 penny with an RPM error. These repunched mint mark pennies are highly valued by collectors who specialize in errors and rare varieties. 4. The 1966 rotated reverse error. A rotated reverse error occurs when the reverse side of the coin is rotated relative to the obverse. In a typical coin, the obverse and reverse should be aligned perfectly. However, sometimes, the reverse design gets misaligned, creating a rotated reverse. This error is relatively rare but can increase the coin's value, particularly if the rotation is noticeable and the coin is in good condition. Hello, coin collectors and history enthusiasts. Rarest coins today. We have a fascinating topic to explore. The 1968 Lincoln penny. This might seem like just another common coin. But did you know that a rare 1968 Lincoln penny can be worth a shocking $1.4 million? Yes, you heard that right. In today's video, we're going to uncover the history behind this iconic coin, what makes certain 1968 pennies so valuable, and why some of them have sold for jaw-dropping amounts. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just getting started, this video will provide you with some amazing insights into the world of rare coins. So let's dive in. Before we explore the 1968 Lincoln penny and its value, it's important to understand the background of the Lincoln cent. The Lincoln penny was introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it was the first U.S. coin to feature the portrait of a real person, which was a significant departure from the allegorical designs that had dominated coinage up until that point. Initially, the reverse of the Lincoln penny displayed 2 ears of wheat, a design known as the wheat cent. In 1959, the design was changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This new reverse design was used for decades and remained in place on the Lincoln penny until 2009. Now, fast forward to 1968. By this time, the U.S. Mint had been producing billions of pennies for everyday circulation. The 1968 Lincoln penny, like most coins from this period, was made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, a composition that remained standard for pennies until 1982. But what makes the 1968 penny so interesting is that certain examples of this coin have become incredibly valuable due to unique minting errors. The 1968 Lincoln penny features the familiar design that was introduced in 1959. On the obverse front, you have Abraham Lincoln's portrait facing right, along with the inscriptions "Liberty, in God We Trust," and the year of mintage, which in this case is 1968. The reverse, back, of the coin depicts the Lincoln Memorial, with the words United States of America and De Pluribus Unum around the perimeter. In terms of composition, the 1968 Lincoln penny is made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, which gives the coin its characteristic reddish-brown color. The penny weighs 3.11 grams and has a diameter of 19 millimeters. While the design and composition of the coin are fairly standard for the time, it's the rare errors that make some 1968 pennies worth far more than their face value. So, how is it possible that the 1968 penny could be worth $1.4 million? Well, the key lies in certain rare minting errors and varieties. While most 1968 pennies are worth just 1 cent, there are specific errors that can turn an otherwise ordinary coin into a valuable collector's item. Here are the main errors and varieties that can make the 1968 Lincoln penny highly sought after. 1. The 1968 double die obverse, DDO, error. One of the most valuable errors found on a 1968 Lincoln penny is the double die error. This occurs when the coin's die is misaligned or struck multiple times, causing parts of the design to appear doubled. In the case of the 1968 penny, the doubling is often most visible in the word "Liberty" and the motto "In God We Trust." If you find a 1968 penny with a clear doubling effect on these areas, it can significantly increase the coin's value. High-quality examples of the 1968 DDO penny have sold for thousands, and in rare cases, even more. 2. The 1968 off-center strike error. Another valuable error is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is improperly aligned in the minting press, causing part of the design to be off-center. If you find a 1968 penny with a noticeable off-center strike, you might have a coin worth much more than its face value. The more extreme the off-center error, the higher the value. Off-center strikes are highly collectible, and if the coin is in good condition, it could be worth a small fortune. 3. The 1968 repunched mint mark, RPM, error. The repunched mint mark, RPM, error happens when the mint mark A, in this case, the D mint mark from the Denver Mint A, is struck multiple times, creating a doubled or shifted mint mark. If you find a 1968 penny with an RPM error, it can be worth a lot more than a standard coin. Coin collectors who specialize in mint mark varieties often seek out coins with RPM errors, and they're willing to pay handsomely for them. 4. The 1968 rotated reverse error. A rotated reverse error occurs when the reverse side of the coin is rotated relative to the obverse. Normally, the ob